We go! Hello! Welcome to another edition of the Steel City Huddle podcast. If you're wondering why it's just me here, well, me and the cat. LeeAnn is not feeling well today, so she's taken some time, but there's plenty to talk about. So we're going to start the top of the show just by doing a little bit of a recap about where things are in the division, because it's not like it was a few weeks ago where we're talking about, aiming for that number 2 seed or, something, in the AFC playoffs. The division and winning that is probably going to be our best bet at ensuring there's a spot in the playoffs for us. How we do in the playoffs is going to be a whole different thing depending on how we do over the next few games. But we'll start out by taking a look. So that's how it looks at the moment. Not nearly as pretty as it looked a little bit ago, which is unfortunate. Because everything's in our hands, and that's the most frustrating part. And we had the Joe Burrow still going to be out, but we had Joe Burrow out for a while, and then Lamar Jackson, he's practicing again and all that. If at the end of this season, something occurs where we did not end up capitalizing on that stretch of time, then I'm genuinely not sure what that means about us as an organization, because what a huge miss if that's the case. But anyway, so heading into Bengals week, that's where we are. I would say that a loss here would pretty much knock the Bengals out. The Browns should already consider themselves out. Sorry, Wayne and my father-in-law. I'm sorry about that, but it's true. Right now, it's a Ravens-Steelers thing. And for anyone who thinks that, the Steelers are, still game and a half ahead or whatever, I most of the odds, I'm pretty sure, are for the Ravens to still win this division. So yeah, that's fun. This is a must win. It's not just a must win. 1 second, we'll put that up there. It is a must win. The double must win. And it's not just because, it's a divisional game and it matters, pride and all that. Like I said, the divisional win is the easiest way that we can make sure we get our foot in the door for the playoffs, because we've all but lost the kind of footing that we had in the division. But before we get into all of that and rehash what happened last week, we'll get into some stuff that's on the peripheral. First off, for anyone who doesn't know, Antonio Brown got himself back into the news again. He wasn't even in the country this time. I didn't look too deep into this because I didn't have the energy, but he was in Dubai. I don't know what he was doing in Dubai, but federal agents found him in Dubai, and he was extradited back here. And as of today, though, he is on bail and he is out. Me and LeeAnn covered the original event when it happened a little while ago. There was he shot a gun in the air or near or at someone, and so they're calling it attempted murder. And so I guess he probably wasn't supposed to leave the country, and he was probably like, I'm going to go to Dubai. And so, yeah, he was brought back, and he is currently in Miami, out on bail in Miami. So if you're out at nightclubs or if you're out partying or enjoying yourself in Miami, Antonio Brown might be out there. You never know. He's never been one to say, well, all this has happened, I guess it's time for me to lay low. So that's Antonio Brown at the moment. Unfortunate fall from glory there. So I figured after we talked about that, we were going to need some kind of a palate cleanser. And so this is a wonderful palate cleanser. Jaylen Warren was already a cat dad. And for anyone who was unsure of the cat dadness of me, you have not watched this show enough for anything that I ever post or have most of my Instagram. I love cats, and this is amazing. So we already had an orange cat that you can see in the picture because the picture's from the original adoption that he did. That's Carrot Jeter right there. What an amazing name. And he returned to the same shelter, and he spotted a 9-week-old kitten. And yes, Courage heard that there was another cat that was given a forever home. So I love Jaylen Warren already. It's incredible for me to think that I could say that I was very kind of bitter after the Najee thing happened, but Jaylen Warren, it was no fault of his, and he is literally hit the ground running if we just use him more, but we're going to get to that. So fun little palate cleanser there from the Antonio Brown stuff. So we'll jump ahead to the next thing, but I just thought that was wonderful. We don't have a name as far as I know for the new kitten. But hopefully he gets along with Carrot Jeter, so we'll see how that goes. So this is both good and incredibly frustrating. Will Howard, the Steelers, I think 5th or 6th round draft pick, late draft pick out of Ohio State. He was the national championship winner. He came in the same class as Jack Sawyer, a linebacker, at the interception last week. He is now active after being on the injured reserve to start the season. He didn't really play much in the preseason. A lot of people are incredibly sad about that because they thought this guy is the guy who's going to lead us to the promised land soon, all that kind of stuff. But the overreactions I knew were going to happen did. But luckily, first, I saw a post from Steelers Takeaway regarding Will Howard being activated. Because I knew the very first thing that was going to happen was everyone was going to say, oh my God, Will Howard's going to be... By the way, he's activated, but we haven't brought him to the point where we don't know if he's going to be active on game day yet. So we have no idea how that's going to work at the moment. But... I knew the overreactions were going to happen so incredibly quickly about, Aaron Rodgers had that bad game, bench Aaron, bring in Will Howard, it's Will Howard time, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to thank Steelers Takeaway for being one of the few people who actually thought things through here. You do realize, for anyone who doesn't follow them, Steelers Takeaway, incredible, just wonderful source there if you want some real good homegrown stuff about the Steelers. The post is, you do realize that Will Howard, to play for the Steelers, a complete set of disasters would have to occur. No way he, with handling reps due to being injured in a rookie, gets any playing time unless both Rodgers and Rudolph are injured. It would take a nightmare scenario for him to play. The problem is, right now, people are jumping to such huge conclusions after that Chargers game that, we're in that nightmare scenario now. We are not in that nightmare scenario now. I know it's hard for a lot of people to just, put stuff aside and look at stuff logically, but with all the emotion and stuff aside, we are still 5-4. We're still right around where I thought we would be at this time in the season. I haven't gone back and done a full check in the next few weeks. I'd like to do a comparison of how I thought the season was going to go based on how it thought it is actually going. But this is just about how I thought it was going to go because I thought we'd hit a rocky stretch, some losses or wins that I thought were going to be all that kind of stuff. But for this particular thing to occur, for Will Howard to ever play, it would here we go. 1 second. There we go. We are absolutely not in a nightmare scenario. I agree with you. Having a backup is great, but that's where he is. I know Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers is starting 100%. Aaron Rodgers is starting, and there's been talk of Aaron Rodgers coming back next year already. By the way, from what I read today, nobody inside the Pittsburgh franchise has said there's been actual conversations regarding that. It just seems that both parties are open to the discussion of Aaron Rodgers coming back next year, but that is so far ahead. The point is that Aaron Rodgers will be the starter of this team as long as pretty much Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. It's not just a money thing. It's not just and he is Aaron Rodgers thing right now. He gives us the best chance to win. After that, Mason Rudolph gives us the next best chance to win. And then if neither of those two are available, it means that we do not care about winning games anymore. It is simply about getting the rookie as much playing time as he can. And people instantly want to throw it back to Big Ben. And the people that do are either incredibly, like they're repainting history in their own mind about what they remember, or they weren't alive for it because it was supposed to be Tommy Maddox that year. Tommy Maddox was supposed to take the Tommy gun further, and it was supposed to be a whole thing, and then his elbow went, and we were stuck with Ben Roethlisberger, who was supposed to be out of Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, the one that was supposed to, get ready for the NFL the slowest, and instead he jumps in and does what he does. That is not the norm. That is not the norm by far. So Will Howard lost the whole preseason. He lost a ton of reps. He lost a ton of practice time. He lost being able to be on the football field with these guys while this team's identity is starting to be formed. And granted, the offense doesn't have much of an identity right now, but the one that it has, Will Howard has not been a part of that. And that genuinely matters. So what Steelers Takeaway said is absolutely true. But speaking of that, there definitely were overreactions. A lot of them were just ones I shrugged off and had no reason to put up on the screen. But of course, Andrew fucking Filippone decided he wants to get involved. First, let's take this logo off for the moment. There we go. So today he says that Will Howard is going to start and win games for the Steelers in 2026. I'm not really sure if that's a positive or a negative, because what he's saying right there, if you follow that train all the way to the end, is that Aaron Rodgers is not coming back, and whoever the Steelers draft is obviously not going to be drafted high enough or be good enough right away to jump in and start. And obviously Mason Rudolph isn't coming back either. Because Mark Kaboly I think a couple months ago, said that right now it's more likely in 2026 for Mason Rudolph to be the starting quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers decides to come back, that'll change and all that. But Andrew Filippone just jump. And by the way, he's doing that by quoting a Chris Adamski says, and we'll watch some video on Will Howard later, that, and this is true, that Will Howard is a Word document. That all little tidbits that Aaron Rodgers gives him, he puts in the Word document, which is great. I expected Will Howard to be a little bit more old school, maybe with a quill and stuff like that. But taking that and then just based on that saying that it's just a strange thing until you know that it's Filippone. And then you have, by the way, this guy Lee, a random guy. He's one of the random ones that I picked, but he said, "This is why I didn't want Aaron Rodgers. Will Howard is a good young quarterback that can make plays." That's a huge jump. That's a huge, number one, a huge overreaction to the Chargers game. But also, you're saying right now that Will Howard gives us the bet. No, he did that. So I'm sorry, Lee. We don't know each other at all. Never interacted, but I just decided to pick yours out of a hat and just throw it to the wolves here. And then, of course, we are to Filippone again. By the way, this is yesterday, I believe. I think Will Howard might be better than any quarterback in the 2026, the upcoming draft class. He's big, he's mobile, blah, 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 blah. I don't need to really hear anything else. Because while, yes, the shine has come off a lot of people in the 2026 draft, so the overreactions to Will Howard being activated have been all over the place. So for anyone who just wants to know exactly what has happened, a third string quarterback at best at this point, considering experience, has been activated, and hopefully he'll be healthy enough to start getting some reps so that when next year's preseason starts, he can jump in and get the experience he didn't get this year. That's exactly what happened. No more and no less. So and if you want to be reminded again, a nightmare scenario would have to happen for him to play. He might have some bright spots, but it's still a nightmare scenario because I'm not really sure what evidence there is to say that Will Howard has the exact same knowledge of this offense that Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph do at this point. And if you think that, then that's ridiculous. And I really need to know what you're smoking. So we're going to jump off of the Will Howard train for a moment. Oh, actually, I am sorry. Before we jump off the Will Howard train, let's play a quick video. This is going to be Will Howard speaking about coming back, all of that. So let's find the Will Howard one. Here we go. Will Howard in the locker room.
I mean, it's limited opportunities, but you have to maximize them. And just going out there every day, and whether it be the limited reps I may get on offense, or whether it's 1 rep a week or just scout team that week, whatever it is, maximizing it, making it like real game reps as much as I can. Whether if it's reading the card defense and saying, hey, this is what, like, this concept, and trying to treat it like a real game as much as I can. But it's just good to be out there and seeing real live reps, live bullets, especially going against our defense, that front and all the different looks that they show on the back end. Like, it's been great for me, and I just want to be able to give them a good look so that we can have success on the weekend.
Can you
Mike was on. So it's easy to see why people like Will Howard. It really is. That was a young man who knows how to handle himself, not just in front of the media, but knows what he's talking about. And there's enough rah-rah to be happy about it, not too much to where you're like, okay, calm down, kid. So it's really easy to see why people like Will Howard. But we are a long way from discussing Will Howard as a starter and a successful starter. It's a whole thing. So we're going to jump off of that. So this is really exciting to me, and I like to put things in perspective as much as I possibly can and never just take things in a snapshot, because context matters incredibly important. I've been a Steeler fan and watched every single game since 1994, since the AFC Championship we lost against the Chargers. This kind of a move, if you look at it in the large picture, is, for the Steelers franchise, it's actually pretty impressive, because any other year, this would be the move we talked about. This would be it. This would be a huge move that captured everybody. And now it's not a side thing, but I mean, we're signing a free agent who's been injured for a little bit, and we sign him to the practice squad. I'm really hoping he gets some playing time this week, and we'll talk about that for a bit. Relic, you're more than happy to, if you check your email, Relic, I actually sent you a link. So if you'd like to jump on however you'd like to, more than welcome. But for anybody who needs caught up, this is incredible. I'm so happy that when the Steelers had a need, they made a move. Which, by the way, this should show you that if the Steelers really, really said, you know what we're missing here is a wide receiver too, they would go out and get a wide receiver too of some shape, not Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That's an Aaron Rodgers move. We have had injuries and subpar play at the defensive back, especially cornerback position. So what do? We get a Sante. This is a second round pick. So I'm going to welcome Relic. If you know him, there he is. You know him as Relic. If you know him as an author who writes amazing books, however you know him, he is braving not feeling well to be here with us. So good thing I can't get infected over a microphone. So Relic, really quick, before we talk about Asante Samuel, how do you feel about Will Howard being activated? Do you have any feelings at all?
Hey Zach, what's up? As far as Will Howard goes, whatever. We're
Yep.
we're ten weeks into the season right now. Not really expecting anything. Like you said on Twitter, there has to be some massive issues to throw Will Howard in, who hasn't really even practiced. So
Exactly.
activating him, sure, cool. Let's get some snaps going. Any real feasibility of him playing, just stop.
Exactly. Yeah, no need to waste breath on that, especially when yours is hard to come by at the moment, apparently. So let's talk. We can talk about Asante Samuel Jr. This excited me more than I thought it would. I didn't even think we were going to make the kind of jump for him that I wanted to, because we have a need here, and this, to me, has a high potential of answering it. Are you excited about this?
I'm gonna be honest. I know absolutely jack nothing about him. If he can stay healthy enough longer than 2 plays, then he's already better than Slay, and keep him on field.
Yeah. The best thing to know about him, incredibly consistent. Let me open this up so it's bigger so everyone can see. Those are his stats. Yep.
But that's all I really know.
Yeah, he got injured. It just kind of came a little bit out of nowhere. But every single year up to his injury year, he had 2 interceptions every single year. He's a good tackler. I remember watching his dad. So just the fact that it was a pedigree kind of a signing, even though he was an injured free agent and we picked him up when we need him, I'm excited about that. That made me excited.
I mean, if he can play and not get injured, I know Slay is still a very high caliber player, but it seems like he's going down every other play. And if that's how it's going to go, you need someone who's going to be able to stay in there.
Exactly, and we need to keep Jalen Ramsey at safety, because that's where the positive things happen. He can't be at cornerback or forced into that kind of a position. That's where we start getting into trouble. Dude's too old for one-on-ones right now.
Well, I mean, Kyle Duggar's been all right at safety when we've needed him there, but he, like you said, it's not getting those plays like we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was rough. So, and Kaboli answered in his mailbag that especially if Slay doesn't pass the concussion protocol, there's really no choice other than to say Asante Samuel are playing, because you can't go in without him. So, especially with the amount of people. Oh, my mother is asking, what can you tell us about his previous injury? He had to have a spinal fusion surgery 7 months ago. And the big positive about that is that the surgeon that did his spinal surgery is the Steelers' doctor.
He's the Steelers.
Yep. So I thought that was really cool thing. So he is fully back, fully cleared, no issues whatsoever there at all. And they're only working with him as an outside cornerback at this time, which is smart because we don't need to play him. But if anyone wants to know what he's going to look like, there he is. That's number 20 there. That's today at practice, so he's already out there moving around. So like you said, Relic, if he can stay healthy.
He got number 22. That's
yep.
That's some shoes to fill with Najee. Given how
that is. It's already been, I think, since Najee left, there's been like 2 or 3 people that have had 22. It's just like passed around. Because Sebastian Castro, who we also signed, he was going to be 22, and then we signed Asante Samuel, and now Castro's going to be 49. So it's a musical chairs with numbers going around everywhere. So very interesting. So now let's. I wanted to talk about fun side things before we got to this thing, because this was it was a missed opportunity. It was a rough game. It was a trap game I did not see coming. And worse than that, because the Chargers are pretty much us. They like to run their team the same way. They beat us the way I wanted to beat them. So before we dive too deep into it, generally, how did you feel about that game?
Well, I walked away from it. That was the first game of the season.
Oh,
you can ask my wife. I got up in the third quarter and I was like, I'm done. And, we kept the game on, but I was on my computer playing some games. I was done.
That's a lot. That takes a lot. That does, and I can see why. I mean, it. Goodness gracious, the one thing after the other. I think the point where I felt the bottom give out of everything was the special teams turnover. I was like, okay, well, before then I didn't have much hope, but just I don't know about you, but I was watching Rodgers from the beginning. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he saw film he didn't like or something. He never ever looked comfortable.
No, he got hit. He got hit in the first quarter. I think it was the safety. I think it was the safety hit that put him in, and you could see like every play he took, not getting hit again. And
yeah, he was
lost,
jumpy.
He lost all confidence in the O line. All confidence. Broderick Jones was getting beat left and right, and I mean he got beat by the same move 3 or 4 times.
It was awful. So we're gonna get to O-line in just a second. Before that, this slide that I have up is but it sums up how I feel about the offense. Because Warren was not on the field for a single third down in the entire game.
Shouldn't have been.
Interesting. Okay, I haven't heard from the opposing side yet. So why don't you even considering he was averaging 5 yards a carry, why don't you want him out there on third and you prefer Gainwell?
I mean, I don't prefer Gainwell. I prefer anybody. Like we really, let's say Warren was out on every third down because Gainwell wasn't doing it. What happens if Warren goes down? And we're just using him almost every single third down to get those yards. He was, from what he was running hard, and there was a few times he got hit. He got blasted a few times, and
he did. It was pedigree.
I'd rather have us lose a tough game and have Warren be healthy for the rest of the season than to have Tomlin run him into the ground and then lose, get injured, and now we're stuck without Warren. There should have been other people going than just, Gainwell. Caleb Johnson had no reason to be in the game when he was playing. Why didn't we, we use Connor Hayward as fullback sometimes? Why didn't we use Connor Hayward on a third down? Why didn't we put Broderick Jones in at running back for a play? Like, these are things that Tomlin could do, but he doesn't. And you see other teams all over the league do, where, now you have to say who's eligible if you're running a lineman to catch the ball. Well, why aren't we doing any mystical, magical stuff? You know what I mean? Like, Rodgers clearly not trying to get hit. Warren is getting hit a lot. So I think it was smart not running Warren on third down if we're running him as much as we have been on the first 2 plays. I don't think it was smart to be doing the old Matt Canada special run, pass. But anything that'll keep the team healthy. You could look at it as a negative that he wasn't a third down back, but I'm happy that we left that game relatively healthy, even
See,
though
I don't know why, even though it was a nice stomping, for some reason, this just in my head, this is going to be a game I'm going to look back if we're at the end of the season and it was like a game or a half game that is away from something. This is going to be one of those games I look back at. I'm like, if we would have played anywhere close to our ability, then we would. And for some reason, I wanted more. I think Warren only ran the ball like 13 or 14 times. And that's not enough for me. I know maybe he's not a workhorse and he can't run, the 25 or 30 times, but he could probably do with 20.
yeah, I mean, every time Warren takes the field, I kind of get that little, what's going to happen, because he does have a history of fumbles.
That is true.
So every time he takes the field, it's like, what? Hold on, let's take a breath. But he's been all right. I do question some of the play calling here, because 1 minute Warren's running like 7 plays in a row, and then we don't use him for a quarter and a half, and it's just odd play calling.
Says we can't use Warren more on third down. We really need a good push and use someone else maybe on the first down or second. Oh, so guessing if to save Warren just for third. Well, that's sets up a whole nother set of problems, because there's certain backs in the NFL who are specifically like third down backs. I think that's more of a Gainwell thing. He's like specifically a third down back. That's his thing.
I feel like Gainwell is what Warren was when we had Najee.
That's a good way to put it. I like that. So Gainwell is Warren 2025. And for anyone who can't see this graph right there, this is graph of missed tackles that you're forced and the yards after contact. These are all in the NFL. So the further up to the top right corner, the better you are at making people miss and then afterwards getting them. Jaylen Warren is the one that you see all the way up there.
He's a monster.
That's we're not just imagining the Jaylen Warren. He's a little bowling ball of anger. So I'm hoping we use him well. But so this. Oh, I'm so angry. This makes me so angry. It was a I mean, we expect terrible games from Broderick Jones, honestly. I mean, yeah, he went to average for a little bit, but this was an awful one. Troy Fotanu, man. It was terrible, and it's not just me saying that. Let me see here before we jump in and have a little say of it. This is what Troy Essex, a former Steeler offensive lineman, had to say about Troy Fotanu on his show. So
on a nice tear, like was playing well. And then for some reason this week he laid an egg, man. That is about as bad as I see him play. He was on the ground a lot. And one of the things that Coach Grimm, the legend O-line coach Russ Grimm would tell us, like, if you're on the ground, you're not doing your job. Unless it's a cut block or something, athletes aren't on the ground. And he was on the ground a lot for whatever reason. His balance was off. He was missing blocks going to the ground. So,
yep. So I don't know if you noticed, because I know it's easy to just see how bad Broderick Jones is getting beat. But when I watched that tape back, it's true. Fotanu. So it was bad on all accounts. I think Zach Frazier's the only offensive lineman who had a really, really good game. So there was Aaron Rodgers may have had a good reason for having happy feet throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. O-line's embarrassing. There's nothing else you can really say about it. Let's be honest, that Andreas Pete getting the call the first snap of the game. Troy
Yep.
Fontalu getting destroyed. Broderick Jones getting destroyed. Mason McCormick. I don't know. Did Mason play? I think it was Pete.
Yeah. No, Mason played because Sayamala was out.
Okay, so
that's
Mason,
why they had to rotate. But I found I didn't know this. Every time an offensive lineman reports as eligible, the next play they cannot be on the line.
Okay.
So it's a weird thing. Like I didn't know that, but
I mean,
the continue.
I was just gonna say the O line did no favors for Aaron Rodgers, but also Aaron's been in this league long enough to know that you need to stay in the pocket to be able to make a play happen, even if you know you're going to get hit. And
Yeah,
with DK Metcalf only having what, fucking 54 targets.
yeah, and Aaron was forcing it to people. Like don't get me wrong, I understand that maybe if DK Metcalf played a different way, he could have caught that weird one that Aaron threw in the. But you don't throw that one to him. That's not the pass you throw to DK. There was bad decision making. But specifically about the O-line, before we jump off of that, I was thinking today specifically about the O-line and why I was so mad specifically about the O-line as a unit. And I think I stumbled on the answer. It's because whenever I watched the Cowboys of the early and mid 2000s, I was so jealous. I looked, I'm like, that's it. That's how you build an offensive line. You go from nothing, and then you spend a lot of high draft picks year after year after year on the offensive line. Then you have guys like Zach Martin, all that, making whoever is behind them look incredible. And we did that, and we look awful.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's an indictment on the as much as I love the Steelers franchise, it's an indictment on our inability to progress people once we get them. If we get you and you're not game ready, there's a very difficult time getting you from where you are to where you should be. So a lot of fizzle outs could be for that. But this offensive line, you have multiple first round draft picks, a second round draft pick on that line, and it looks as bad. No excuse for that.
Can you imagine if Marquise Pouncey was on the team right now, or David DeCastro?
I missed DeCastro. Alan Faneca was the one who taught me what an offensive lineman should be. And Damani Dawson. Oh my goodness! Yeah, this is embarrassing.
They would not. Everybody on that line would have their ass handed to them in the locker room by those three.
No. And the thing is, I do trust Fatanu to bounce back. He's proved to me enough that this could be a fluke. But this is now, I think Broderick has a confidence issue in general. You can see it in games. If he lets a bad play up, he just gets worse. In this situation, he's not going to get better. He's going to start getting worse, or at least stay at this level of awful. Which means Aaron's going to have jumpy feet, and it's going to happen again. This can't keep happening.
Yeah, it's concerning because the whatever coaching is going on is not helping. It's not fixing itself. And I know Mike Tomlin likes to go up and be like, "Oh, it'll get better. Have faith, trust the process." Or what's the line he used in 2019 when the defense was being bad? It'll sort itself out.
Yeah.
At some point, somebody needs to be held accountable. And I, for one, am tired of hearing that it's always the defense's fault that we're staying out of games. And I've commented this before in the chat. Mike Tomlin refuses to call anybody but the defense out after games. And I don't know, if you can't do your block, why are you starting? And Broderick Jones is just that guy that if you can't do your block, why are you starting? Because you're getting
Well,
beat back to back to back.
I mean, it's if we're consistent in nothing else, even if it's a terrible decision, because Dan Moore Jr. never deserved his job,
Bring Dan Moore back.
and
At least he could block better than fucking Broderick Jones. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I would maybe if you put the two of them and tape them together, they could figure it out a little bit, but. I also was thinking about Arthur Smith because I think as a fan base, we kind of forgot what Arthur Smith was supposed to be. And the best way you can describe Arthur Smith was supposed to be a palate cleanser. Wasn't supposed to be a savior. Wasn't supposed to be a genius. Wasn't supposed to be a solve-all. He was supposed to be simply not Matt Canada. That was all he had to do. And a lot of people are really upset that he's not leading us to this amazing offensive plays. He's not that good of an offensive coordinator. He's okay, but he's not that good. Like you said, personnel. And we're going to go there. I have a slide in a second that'll show that specifically about personnel. But the success that we experienced early on, and if we continue to experience any in the future of this season, is more a happy surprise than, yeah, we planned it this way. And a big reason is this guy on your screen. He's a middling offensive coordinator. We're supposed to get our minds off of Matt Canada and then we could eventually move on. But problem is I think Mike Tomlin is way too loyal and way too stubborn. And all of a sudden he found out Arthur Smith is gonna, roll over a couple times. And now we're stuck with him.
Tell you what, if Arthur Smith goes to the Giants and let's say the Giants offer him the head coach, like is rumored, they want him. If Arthur Smith goes, we're going to be no better than the Browns because it's just another offensive coordinator in 5 years, 6 years. We need we need stability. And we need someone who's not afraid to take what we have and know how to put those pieces together so we're getting what we get. DK Metcalf should not be getting 3 to 5 targets a game. He should be getting over 10 because he is our offense.
See, is that with that I hope he understood what was happening when he came here, because that reality might be able to come true next year with whatever quarterback and hopefully different offensive coordinator that we have moving forward. But this Arthur Smith has no idea how to call an offense where someone gets that many catches.
No,
he does. He has no clue how to do that. When we got DK, the biggest reason I was so surprised is I'm like, that's interesting. We're not going to throw him the ball a lot. I hope he knows that. That's why Pickens got upset. But actually, that is a perfect thing you just brought up. Because as before, I have a video about that. At least I thought I did. Did I? Maybe I didn't. Yes, I did. So Metcalf was asked about the catches and about not being targeted a lot and all that kind of stuff when he was in the locker room, and this is what he had to say.
Delivering the ball.
How unselfish does this group have to be okay with that? The open man, the spreading the ball around. That it seems like there aren't guys that are getting frustrated with the lack of targets.
Yeah, y'all may get frustrated with us. We don't. We just trying to win.
I mean, how special is that? How rare is that to be in a receiver room where there is a selflessness?
I think every receiver room that I've been in, once you put in the work and the time during the off season and even during the week training camp, like you got to respect the guys who are getting targets. And from the moment that I've gotten here, everybody's worked their butts off, so everybody rightfully deserves a shot at the ball.
So what do you think? That is first off, it is the exact opposite of anything Pickens would ever say.
Yeah.
But that's the exact kind of attitude that you should have in this kind of offense, because I think there maybe was a little bit of reality. Like, this year I'm coming in, I might not get the catches I want, but I certainly have the money that I want. So that'll balance out and my catches will come later. Do you think that, how do you feel when you heard that quote from him?
I mean, good for him, I guess. I'm sorry, Zach. I don't. I'm of the thought that DK needs to have more targets, and we stop doing this random Scotty Miller down the side. Or
I would love that.
I mean, I love Scotty Miller. Don't get me wrong, but we signed DK for a reason.
Yes.
And, eventually, that nice guy DK is not going to be nice guy DK if he's not getting the ball.
Yeah.
I think
now
one time this year he had 3 yards or something in a game.
Yep.
So.
And maybe that is now. I think a DK meltdown when it comes to like a coordinator will be a little different than a Pickens meltdown. Because I think it'll still be just as passionate, just as violent, possibly, but it'll happen behind closed doors, where he will go to Arthur and he will let him know that he needs his catches, and there's a reason. And I think the problem was we were winning and he wasn't getting the ball a lot, so no one would say anything. If we're losing and he's not getting the ball a lot, then I will lean much more towards your side. Where then there's him not getting those catches is a big reason. But Arthur Smith, like we said, not good at personnel. This is interesting. This guy right here is not a Steeler fan. This guy is an Eagles fan. I looked into a bit on his profile. He has a couple thousand followers, but he's an Eagles fan. He's posting about our offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He says the OCs in Philly and Pittsburgh are really doing their star wide receivers a disservice. We all knew Arthur Smith was a buffoon, still unsure how he gets acquiring gainful employment. But this guy in Philly, you can't understand, getting Arthur on the ball should be a priority. So, yeah. So this is a guy who's right on the same boat with you, that cannot figure out why you have someone like, I mean, you are correct. You got someone like a DK Metcalf. If you're not going to run Warren the way he's supposed to, at least throw to DK the way it's supposed to. Because yet again, no one was used right at all. This is a 3rd and 2 that we're seeing. I'm going to open this up so it's bigger so lots of people can see this fun thing. This is the play call. 3rd and 2. There's no one in the middle there. That's not an illusion. There's not a single Steeler in the middle or running towards the middle of that football field on 3rd and 2. That is just awful. And to respond to what you were saying a little bit, Relic, Arthur Smith was actually asked about not being able to get the ball to DK. And he said, quote unquote, a lot of things we've obviously tried to do. We moved them all over the place. We'll continue to do that. And all these guys, I mean, you get in a game like that, you've got to own it. You got to look at yourself. It starts with me.
It has nothing to do with moving them all around. It just has learn how to fucking use them. Pardon my French.
No, you're allowed to say that on here. There's no we have no. This is 18 and up.
Let me ask you a serious question. No bullshit. How come Roger Jones, or not Roger Jones, Washington, how come Darnell Washington can run up the middle, turn 3 yards, and catch the ball in the middle, but DK can't run up into the exact same play? Why are we having, Calvin Austin just 5 foot down? I love that. Why are we having Calvin Austin run the middle of this? Look what happened when we ran DK up the middle. He caught a touchdown and went for like 60 yards. Like,
yeah.
Why are we love Washington? Love Washington. Big guy, good hands. Why are we running slant plays with Washington?
I think I don't like that play call at all. I like getting Washington involved more, but it's the exact same thing that we saw last year where, yeah, that's the right play call. That's the wrong guy.
Yeah.
A lot of that again. Here's a good example of not understanding how to call personnel and any of that in the NFL. This is the 2-point conversion against the Packers. On this play, we do not have DK Metcalf. We do not have Jalen Warren. And we do not have Pat Fryermuth on the football field. That is, from what I can see, Jonnu Smith, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, and you have Connor Hayward at the bottom.
Fuck Connor Hayward.
I don't. How can you pick a worse set? I mean, that is incredibly frustrating. So yeah, Arthur Smith is he is not a competent enough offensive coordinator to deal with the amount of weapons that we could have and the way they should be used. Because the one thing I will 100% agree with you when we come with the DK Metcalf is if you want the majority of other things on that team to work, start making teams fear DK Metcalf. Once they start fearing him and taking him into actual account, then other things will start opening up and working more rather than just saying, well, it's not worth the DK, we'll try everything else.
If you remember
just so you know, you're really quiet. I can't not hear you that well. Sort of. You're a little muffled. Yeah. Yes.
If you remember a year and a half ago, I asked you, why don't the Steelers have more zigzag plays? Why do we see these other teams doing these, run up 8 yards, stop, and then run to the outside, or vice versa? And we used to have that. We don't have that no more. We used to have players that did that. I mean, think about Calvin Austin real quick. Calvin Austin got wheels, and if he breaks up free, he's going to catch that ball, as long as you throw it into his hands. But what's the point of having these fast guys? DK's got wheels. I think DK's faster than Calvin.
Yeah, but he doesn't have acceleration. He has speed. Big difference in the two. So I get that. Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, what are we doing? You can't scheme a better play to get DK open?
No, they can't. That's the problem.
Like
they literally can't.
Janitor. What did Andy Reid say? A janitor came up with a play, and they used it in the Super Bowl, and they fucking got a touchdown. Like,
well, that's someone who's willing to take input from other people, and that's to me at least, and a lot of other people, that's a big problem with Mike Tomlin.
Arthur Smith, go on literally any Madden game and look up a play that isn't one that you created, and I promise you someone's gonna do better than your play, because holy fuck, dude.
Yeah. So before we move on from the Chargers and leave it behind because it deserves to be left behind, we all know that TJ Watt is chipped a lot. That until the Chargers game, I didn't realize how much he was, number one. And did we just lose Relic?
No, you're coming through my window.
Oh, there you were. Oh, okay. Your static stopped for a second. I thought you disappeared.
You're coming through my webcam mic and not my headset. I'm trying to.
Oh, no problem. For anyone who missed this graphic, I did not realize that. Yeah, we don't move TJ around. We don't do other things, but when you are facing chips at that much of a higher rate than the other premier pass rushers in the league, that has to be incredibly frustrating. And that means that the Steelers aren't being creative enough on the other 10 defensive players to take the pressure off TJ.
Nope.
So just that I saw that I had to make sure that we said. So
Maybe
now
if we stop giving vet days, we can figure out how we can scheme TJ Watt and put him somewhere else. But
well
hey,
that
that's
well
just me.
that would also because if you choose to believe that what TJ is saying is true, then if they told him to move around, he would. I just believe that Mike Tomlin. It's the same thing with the Matt Canada firing. It took forever for it to happen because when a lot of people want something to happen, for some reason, Mike Tomlin really pushes against it, even if it's the right idea.
Zach, you're
And
talking
I
about the
think
dude
we're at
who talking about the dude who what did he do? He was rotating defensive tackles last year. He ain't gonna rotate TJ because he wants TJ to make that big time sack, game wrecking sack. But like you said, he's number one on getting chipped. Every play he has 2 to 3 guys on him.
And I wish that we had a defensive and offensive coordinator because here's an interesting question before we jump to the Bengals. We won't spend too much time on this, but who is a better coordinator, Terrell Austin or Arthur Smith?
Neither. Get them both off the fucking team.
I know, because I just thought I'm like they're both Terrell Austin showed a bit ago that he does not know how to fully run a defense the way both of them have too much talent to know what to do with it. They have no idea how to handle it. Yeah.
Do you ever see the movie? The fuck is it?
I don't know.
2000.
What 2001: A Space Odyssey?
That Eagles game, and the Eagles movie.
Oh,
Legendary.
Invincible.
There you go.
Yes, I have many times.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to pick up a little board and grade your players on what they're good at. The Steelers need to take a long, hard look at what they have and what they're good at and figure out what they can do with that because, just having offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators slip in and out at the end of a season, and then we're literally doing some of the same plays that Matt Canada drew up. Run, pass, run, run, pass, run. Like, why are we not throwing on first? Like, make a statement. You know what I mean? Like, Aaron, you got the arm. Can you guys not block for 10 seconds to get DK open downfield and just set the tone?
Actually, that's a big problem right there. Everything has to, nothing deep can happen. I've looked for anything resembling any kind of pocket that would come close to what would be needed to get the speed or of Calvin or of DK anywhere close to downfield. Our offensive line is not actually legitimately not capable of blocking for that long right now. So
if that's the case, the next question needs to be, why the hell didn't we make a trade?
Because they understand that there's a fine line between trying to walk between building for the future and winning now, but at some point you have to say, well, that's out of our price range for what it would take to get there. Plus, I actually did see Trey Essex was asked that, as well as I forget another offensive lineman was specifically asked, why didn't the Steelers go out and make a trade? And he specifically said any team that has a tackle worth their salt doesn't trade them away.
I mean, that's fair, but you're telling me there's nobody in free agency right now that's
Oh,
better than what we have?
no, and he specifically said, especially because we saw what happened at the earlier part of the year. Because yeah, it was rough the other day, but in preseason and week 1 and 2, it was really rough on that offensive line, and that's because they had no cohesion. They didn't really know each other that well as a unit yet. Bringing a new person in like Pete to the situation, or that messes with things. I'm not saying that they probably shouldn't have at least tried, but uh, I still feel like behind the scenes there is a massive tug of war going on where Khan gets a certain amount of say, but the rest is Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin does not like giving up control. And
I
Khan
hope
knows the right answer, and yeah.
I hope this blows up. If we I would argue that we faced one of the hottest teams in the league last week. They're moving, the Chargers.
Yeah, they're good. They're beatable if we would have played well, but they're one of the I would not want to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to the playoffs. That's a team that's going to win a playoff game. I'm gonna argue that we do not win a playoff game.
The way we're playing right now,
we're so inconsistent.
The inconsistency does definitely worry me. I don't know. Like I said, I have to see a lot more to know about the playoff game. I'm not going to change my belief that we're going to win a playoff game yet. Mainly because if we do enough to get there, it means we have to surpass what a lot of people's expectations already are. But let's. So as far as the Bengals game,
the Bengal.
Yeah,
this is going to be an angry team coming out on this game.
It's going to be a very angry defense. Scotty Miller was a full practice. He had a finger thing. Darius Slay, Corey Price Jr., Alex Highsmith did not practice. Cole Holcomb was back on the field practicing for the first time in a bit. Broderick Jones had a soft tissue injury that he was dealing with, but he had limited practice. Jonnu Smith had a full practice. So did TJ Watt. Cameron Hayward had limited. Anything from those three are probably going to be veteran day stuff. So nothing really worrisome. Honestly, a lot of positives.
There's only one person on that list, Zach, that deserves a veteran rest, and that's Cam.
Yeah. So, regardless of whether they deserve it or not, the thing is Mike Tomlin's going to give his guys their vets day. So.
I don't understand why Jonnu Smith is getting veteran rest. He's new to the team. He should be taking as many snaps as he can in practice because he's had a couple drops that are concerning. And I see him starting to get phased out for Muth.
That I don't know. I don't mind that at all. Honestly, when it comes to tight ends, whoever's producing out of those guys, I really don't care who it is. I was surprised we got Jonnu anyway. Jonnu is this extra interesting piece that is honestly, he just feels a little. I don't mean extra in the current modern way that it's used in slang. I mean he feels like an extra piece. Like we finished the puzzle and then we have one extra piece left and it's Jonnu. I'm happy we have him, but it just feels kind of weird. So for anybody who doesn't know, we are the 4th worst team in yards per carry. The only team that are worse than us are the Saints, the Raiders, and the 49ers. For anyone who's wondering, those are not impressive football teams. The Saints and Raiders are 2 of the worst football teams in the NFL.
The Raiders are historically in this.
Yeah, they are bad. So we need to fix that. And a large part of that, I don't believe a large part of that is our running backs. I think we have the running backs to do exactly what we need to have a successful running game. I just don't. From the second this season started, it looked like a chaotic mess every time this group was asked to run block. I mean, we don't know how to run block on this field. This offensive line, I don't know if they can't, or it's just a step beyond the cohesion we're asking of them. But their pass protection are miles better than their run blocking, and their pass protection isn't that good.
You want to hear a stat? It's gonna make you cry. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 36 out of 100 in third down efficiency, with a 36% win rate.
Yep. That sounds right. You said third. Well, a big problem with that is I would guarantee probably 80% of those are 3rd and 8 or longer.
Yep.
I mean, we're not the Eagles. We don't get 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 1s, and then we know exactly what we're gonna do. 3rd and 8. The number one thing I remember, and I don't know the exact phrasing of it, but the general paraphrasing of the thing was, nobody has a 3rd and long play in their playbooks that they're confident of. 3rd and long is not a confident thing. You pull out 3rd and long when you have nothing else and you don't really know what you're going to do. So, and it's just frustrating. So when you don't do well on 1st and 2nd down, all of a sudden it's 3rd and long and you haven't performed well all game. God, that confidence. My confidence level has rarely been lower than it was nearing the end of that Chargers game.
Yeah.
Now this worried me. This legitimately, Trey Carney he's in and around the locker room. He said, I don't know about Steeler Nation, but from the locker room, it doesn't feel like a Bengals week from the players. Not the usual intensity or hatred we usually see when the Steelers would be gearing up to play Cincy. This is a team that embarrassed you on national television this season. It's just an odd thing. I'm hoping that doesn't bleed over, but does that make you any more worried than you already were?
No.
Okay.
I'm not worried about this game at all. You heard Mike Tomlin. Joe Flacco is now, 4 games in for the Bengals? 5 games?
So the magic is the polish is off?
The tape is there on how they're using him. I have a wooden desk and I have a wooden wall right next to me. I work on both, because if Jamar Chase gets 200+ yards again, it's time to pack up the entire team. Sell the team.
It should be that's. It would be one thing if they really earned it and they used him in all these creative ways. No, they just threw to him. That's it. That was the strategy. That's it. So I don't want to say if we lose, I'll be okay with it, but I will be a little more okay with it if we don't get beat because of some easy, simple solution that the Bengals found to beat us with. Now, here's a big positive, and should make everyone feel even better because this offensive line cannot handle pass rushers, and 2 of the Bengals pass rushers are not doing great. You have Shamar Stewart, the rookie, and you have Trey Hendrickson, who I sure as hell was going to be traded away and was, for some reason, is still on the Bengals. It's a very good chance neither of them play. So this offensive line could face a lot less pressure than we were thinking originally they might. So on the offense and defense, we might have it a lot easier this time around. So I'm feeling really, really good about that. Now Aaron Rodgers was asked about bouncing back after a bad game. Rather than have to read a quote, figured it'd be easy if we heard directly from Mr. Aaron regarding that. So let's see what Aaron had to say about bouncing back.
Rough games before in your career, every player has. And what have you learned over the last 20 years in terms of making sure one bad performance doesn't bleed into the next one?
It's just consistency. If the process is right, you don't have to make any major changes or freak out. It's the nature of the league. There's going to be a stinker every now and then. You just got to bounce back, get back to the things you do, and get back in your routine and try and be better the next week.
So yeah, I for anyone who hasn't followed Rodgers' career in general, he is the sayer of the infamous relax and then spelled it out when he was playing for the Packers before they went on a significant run. So you never know. But if there's anybody out of many quarterbacks in the league right now, if there's anybody who knows what a lot of situations look like, it's Rodgers. So I don't think at the moment he's rattled. But I do think that he was probably very, I don't know. Do you think he was a little jarred by the tape when you look back at how like skittish he was in the pocket?
No, I think he was. I think you could see it. Aaron gets mad at this offense.
He
And
does. He really does.
And once he gets mad, it's like that's the end. That there goes his cool and calm composure to make plays, because then he's jittery and throwing the ball wherever he needs to go. I don't know what the hell he get mad at. He played like shit. So
yeah, he was the reason for
why
because
are
if
you yelling at people? You know what I mean?
yeah, he hits on like maybe just 3 of the throws that he missed on, then the game is different. It's all. I mean, I was telling my wife, I just that first throw to Jonnu Smith. If we would have hit that alone, that's a whole bunch of momentum. It's a whole thing. Yeah. So I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers can bounce back the way he's talking about it. But we have reached that wonderful point where I'm really curious on how you feel about like prediction wise for the game, because you're very confident in it. But do you think that confidence is going to be reflected in the score, or that we're just going to beat them like that soundly? What do you think the score is going to be?
I think we're gonna blow the shit out of them. I think we're gonna destroy the Bengals. I think we're coming out. Aaron, I think everyone on the team is mad, and we got embarrassed on national television, and I think if there's one game we're gonna be ready for, like 100% ready for, both defense and offense doing what they're supposed to do, I think it's going to be against these kitty cats that we got coming up on Sunday. I think we're going to win. I think the score is going to be 24-7.
That would be amazing.
I think the team saw and got surprised at Joe Flacco. Okay, that's not happening again. I think the team is going to do what they need to do to keep Jamar in chase, or Jamar in his little bubble. I think, we're we're not gonna flinch as or sorry, let me say it in Mike Tomlin's isms. We're not gonna blink in the face of adversity, whatever the fuck that means. But
we'll cut our eyelids off.
Yeah. we'll make the splash plays.
It'll be all the things that, whenever we win, I'm like, bring them on. Tomlin is whenever we lose, I'm like, if you say one of them, I swear to God.
I will say, if you just look at the statistics between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers, we should win this game.
Yes.
The rushing stats for Cincinnati, they're 20th in rush yards per game. The passing stats, they're 21st in completions out of 31 teams. Like, hello, Steelers, like, come on now. This isn't the Chiefs. This isn't Baltimore. Like, it's Joe Flacco, who's I don't know, he looks about a decade older than Aaron.
It really does. And the honest truth is, and I'll tell any Cincy fan, as long as it's not to their face in person, that we lost that game. They did not win that game. There was many chances that we could have just tweaked a couple things here and there. We decided to be stupid about it. So I agree, and I think I don't think it'll be that big. I think they'll reach the end zone at least twice. But I'm gonna say a nice, clean No need for Boswell to get out there and do a lot. 28-14. Just beat them double what they got. So Steelers will win 28-14. I really want to see the Steeler defense just go absolutely insane. I really do too.
Well, I mean, now's about the time historically that the team falters. We usually win this game, and then we usually win the next game. And then the start of December, we go downhill. So we've already gone downhill in the beginning of the season. So how about we start winning the games? You know what I mean? Like let's break away from that. We got a tough stretch coming up. So we
do. We have to show more than just, I think that's why a blowout would really help, because a win would be great. Just and of course, a win anyway, that it matters, but a blowout, especially a really decisive one on both sides of the ball, might give a little bit of hope to we might steal one, because we're going to have to steal a game that we're not supposed to win down the stretch.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to do that is build on something, and you can't build on last week. And the week before seems like it's 2 months ago.
Well, I mean, who do we got? We got Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and Ravens. So
it's such a weird mix, right?
You only got we lose. Let's say we lose against the Bengals. You have to win against the Bears.
Which that's going to be harder.
We're not winning against the Bills. Well, actually, no. Let's take that back. They don't have an offense.
The Bills have been really weird this season. I mean, I could see them choosing us to lose to.
We're not winning both Raven games. It'll be.
We are not. Don't we play the Lions and Packers?
No, we already played the Packers. So
that's right.
We got Bengals on Sunday. We got Bears after that. We got Bills at home, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and then Ravens.
I don't like any of this. Wonderful. So I was waiting for me to feel confident. Yeah. We need to stack wins. I wanted to stack wins more than we already have, because I knew we were going to take some hits later on. But you never know. I gotta say,
we lose, they win. I think we go down, right? We're no longer first in the.
No. If the rate, I don't know. I'd have to check. I know we'd be tied record wise, but I don't know about tiebreakers. But I do know, because we're gonna be going here in a second. I remember in 2005, for anybody that wasn't alive or doesn't remember that, we were sitting at like 7-5. And we were not feeling good. We were not a good football team at that point. There was no evidence at all that we should be able to make a run. We had age problems. We had consistency problems and blocking problems. And I'm not going to say we're going to go on this amazing Super Run. I'm saying my hope for a playoff win is not completely out of my sight yet. Mainly, I lived through more challenging moments than this one. So I lived through Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. So
we can live through anything after that.
Exactly. See, so Relic, I'd really like to thank you for joining this evening. Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with regarding either the Chargers game or the Bengals game?
Yeah, don't let Jamar Chase get 200 yards.
There you go. If for some reason,
anybody else. Even if T. Higgins has a massive game, just don't let Jamar Chase set the tone.
Yeah, don't. I don't want to lose in such a cliche way. I'd at least be creative in how you beat us if you're going to beat us. So,
and if we're going to lose, can we just hit Joe Flacco really hard one play with TJ?
Yes. Well, not just once. I mean, honestly, I think Joe Flacco was old to the point he gets hit like a couple times like that. We might break the poor guy. So
I mean, I don't think he'll get injured, But you know what I mean? Like, make them honest. Keep them in
Hey.
that pocket.
There you go, and make him as jittery as Rogers was last week. I like to see that little happy feet going on there. So, okay, well, we wish LeeAnn all the getting better energy. She will be back with us on Tuesday, where we will either be discussing how we're moving forward after a triumphant victory, or yet again, where on earth do we go from dropping to 500? Everybody have an amazing week, and go Steelers as always.
Go Steelers.
LeeAnn and Zach would like to thank you for tuning in to the Steel City Huddle podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.